Treason doth never prosper, wrote an English poet. What is the reason? For if it prosper, none dare call it treason. The American public has yet to see the Zapruder film. Why? The American public has yet to see the real x-rays and photographs of the autopsy. Why? There are hundreds of important documents which could help prove this conspiracy. Why have they been withheld or burned by the government? Each time my office, or you, the people, ask these important questions and demand crucial evidence, the answer from on high has been national security. Tell me, what kind of national security permits the removal of the fundamental power from the hands of the American public and validates the ascendancy of invisible government in the United States? What kind of national security do we have when we are robbed of our leaders? That national security, ladies and gentlemen of the jury, is when it smells like it, when it feels like it, when it looks like it. Call it what it is. Fascism. I submit to you that the events that took place on November 22nd, 1963 was a coup d'etat. Its direct and most tragic result was the reversal of President Kennedy's commitment to withdraw from Vietnam. War. War is the biggest business in America. It's worth $80 billion a year. President Kennedy was murdered by a conspiracy which was planned in advance at the highest levels of our government. It was carried out by fanatical and disciplined Cold Warriors in the Pentagon and in the CIA's covert operations apparatus. Among them, Clay Shaw, sitting here before you today. It was a public execution, and it was covered up by like-minded individuals in the Dallas Police Department, the Secret Service, the FBI, and the White House, all the way up to and including J. Edgar Hoover and Lyndon Johnson, whom I consider accomplices after the fact. The assassination, it reduced the president to a transient official whose job, whose assignment was to speak as often as possible of this nation's desire for peace, while he acts as a business agent in Congress for the military and their hardware manufacturers. Now, there are some who say that I'm crazy. I'm just a southern caricature seeking higher office. Well, there's a simple way to determine if I'm paranoid. Let us ask the two men who have profited the most from this assassination. Your former president, Lyndon Baines Johnson, and your new president, Richard Milhouse Nixon, to release the 51 CIA documents pertaining to Lee Harvey Oswald and Jack Rubin, or the secret CIA memo on Oswald's activities in Russia that was destroyed while being photocopied. Now these documents, they're yours. The people's property. You all pay for it. But because the government considers you all children who may be too distressed or disturbed to face this reality, or because you just might lynch those involved, you cannot see these documents for another 75 years. Now, I'm approaching 40, so I would have shuffled off my mortal coil by then. But I'm already telling my 8-year-old boy to keep himself physically fit so that on one glorious September morning in the year 2038, he could walk in to the National Archives and he could find out just what the CIA and the FBI knew. They may even push it back then. Hell, this may become a generational affair with questions passed down from father to son, mother to daughter. But somewhere, someday, somebody may find out the damn truth. We better. We might as well just build ourselves a new government, like the Declaration of Independence says to, when the old one ain't working. Just just a little farther out west. An American naturalist wrote, "A patriot must always be ready to defend his country against its government." I wouldn't want to be in your shoes today. You all have a lot to think about. You've all seen much hidden evidence that the American public has never seen. Going back to when we were all children, I imagine every one of us in this courtroom thought that justice came into being automatically, and that virtue was its own reward, and that good would triumph over evil. But as we get older, we learn that just isn't true. Individual human beings, they have to create justice. And that's not easy, because the truth, it often poses a threat to power. And one must often fight power at great risk to themselves. People like S.M. Holland, Lee Bowers, Gene Hill, and Willie O'Keefe, they've all taken that risk. They've all come forward. I have some $8,000 in these letters sent to my office from all over the country. Quarters, dimes, dollar bills, from teachers, housewives, plumbers, car salesmen, invalids. These are people who cannot afford to send money, but do. They're the ones who are driving the taxi cabs. They're nursing in the hospitals. They're the ones who see their kids go off to Vietnam. Why? Because they care. Because they want to know the truth. Because they want their country back. Because it still belongs to us, as long as the people have the guts to fight for what they believe in. The truth. It is the most important value we have. If the truth cannot endure, if the government murders truth, if we cannot respect the hearts of these people, then this is not the country in which I was born. And this is certainly not the country that I wish to die in. Tennyson wrote, "Authority forgets a dying king." This was never more true than for John F. Kennedy, whose murder was probably one of the most terrible moments in the history of this country. You, the people, the jury system sitting in judgment on Clay Shaw, represent the hope for humanity against government power. In discharging your duty, in bringing the first conviction in this house of cards against Clay Shaw, that's not what your country can do for you, but what you can do for your country. Show this world that this is still a government of the people, for the people, and by the people. Nothing as long as you shall live will ever be more important. It is up to you.